Hey friends, welcome back to Willow Creek Homestead. My name is Kenzie if you are new here. And in this week's video, we are just going to be spending the entire weekend together. We have minor league practice for my daughter tonight, so we're gonna go do that. And then tomorrow we are gonna go down to the garden and do some planting and prepping of the rows and kind of just discussing the next plans for all of my summer crops and where they are going to be. I also have a brand new chicken coop down at the new house that I cannot wait to show you guys. It got dropped off a couple days ago, so I want to give you guys the rundown and show you guys all of the stuff that comes with it and kind of our plans with the girls. I just got off work and got showered. I'm hanging out with my chickens at the moment, so I thought we could go grab some eggs together and then just spend the weekend together seeing what we can come up with to do. We have to go out of town on Sunday, so I thought about maybe going shopping a little bit for like new house stuff and decor, but we will see what all we get to do this weekend. But for now, let's go over to the coop and see if my girls have laid any eggs today so far. So this is the coop that I have right now. It's from Amazon and it works totally fine, but I cannot wait to show you guys the new one. It is absolutely incredible. Oh my goodness, friends, look at those. Sparkles, are you talking smack? This is Sparkles. She is my daughter's chicken and she is the loudest one of the bunch. She is always talking smack and she is considered a total freeloader at this point. She has never laid me an egg in the 4 months that I have had her. Sparkles, you're loud. They don't want to hear you. And then once she starts going, all of them start going. See if I can hold them all one-handed. Look how beautiful that is, you guys. Such pretty colors. Look at that bounty for today. I wanted to show you guys this one that I have been getting. I think this is from my naked neck. I'm not entirely sure. But look at that. Isn't that cool? And then this one, like I said, is from the Black Copper Marron. And then this one right here is from my Easter egger, Jane Doe. Hello, girls. Thank you for your service today. Thank you for all the eggs. Thank you for the eggs, Emerald. Thank you. I am so incredibly excited to take them over to the new farm and let them free range over there. Granted, they do have an entire backyard that they can, you know, run and frolic through as much as they would like, but I know they're going to really appreciate finding all of the grubs and free ranging in the woods over there. So it's going to be really fun. Okay, friends, I made it back down to the garden. I want to show you guys what everything is looking like from last week. If you have not watched last week's video, go back and watch that because it will go over everything that I planted in the ground. But so far so good. Everything looks really good. I'm just hoping that like the spring crop that I'm trying to get, I'm not too late for. I am in zone 5B and in Iowa, and sometimes our springs are literally like from super cold to super, super hot. So trying to time everything adequately is really difficult. I have personally come to find that doing fall crops is a little bit easier because the temperature fluctuations are a little bit better and easier to accommodate with my planting. But so far everything is looking pretty good, so let's go through it. Okay, so for this first row, my husband went ahead and put the posts in because remember we planted peas along the entire backside of this first row, and the trellising for them is right over there. I'm going to use a couple more on the other rows as well. So none of the peas have come up, and the lettuce starts that I planted right here did die. I don't know if it just got too cold or what exactly happened, but nothing survived in this part of the row, which is totally fine. But if you remember, I did sprinkle lettuce and arugula and all kinds of things throughout the rest of this row. And I believe we have some lettuce starting to come up right here. And then we have something coming up over here. I think that this is probably lettuce and spinach and all kinds of that fun stuff. And then on this very back side, I believe we did chard or kale. I can't exactly remember, but there are a couple little starts starting to come up. And even in just 1 week, I already had a ton of weeds, so I had to kind of go through and be careful about what I was picking. But I did get all of the rows weeded and taken care of in that regard because I definitely want to keep up on it. And then for this second row here, we did kale along this backside for sure, and none of that has popped up for us yet, which is totally fine. And then this is all the Chinese cabbage. Now I did go through and pick off some of the yellow leaves on the outside because sometimes plants just need a little bit to get acclimated. So these outside leaves are not looking like the best, but it has put on some new growth on every single one of these. So that is really nice. And then in the middle of this row, we are going to get more cabbage planted today, along with some broccoli. But then these kohlrabi over here look absolutely stunning. They are doing really, really good, thankfully. So hopefully we will all get to try some of these together. And then the Brussels sprouts are also still trucking along. Some of the outside leaves I did go ahead and take off because, again, they were starting to yellow and just fall off on their own. So it's only been a week. Sometimes, like I said, whenever you plant things out, it just takes a little while for the plant to adjust. So hopefully everything survives and we get some of these goodies to try as the weeks go on. This row here is the onion and radish bed, so none of the radishes have popped up yet. But friends, these onions are looking absolutely fantastic. If you have never grown onions before, they are a little bit finicky and dramatic. They start shedding their outer layers and then usually will sprout up with new growth, and all of these are doing absolutely amazing. I think I have planted roughly around 380 onions in this row, and out of all of the things that I planted last week, the onions were the thing that I was crossing my fingers on the most and hoping that they pulled through. So far everything is looking absolutely fantastic, which I am super, super thrilled about. And then I still have 12 rows over here that still need to be completely weeded and gone through and more manure added back over to them. So a lot to do today. Hopefully I can get the majority of this done. But for now, I brought out some more cabbage and a bunch of broccoli starts, along with cilantro and parsley and some leeks. So we are going to go ahead and get this put in the ground. So these are just a bunch of different varieties of cabbage. I have more Napa cabbage, which I will put with my Napa cabbage that I have already. I also have red acre cabbage and EJ cabbage. I don't know what the EJ is, but I will leave it up here. So I am just going to go ahead and start getting these out and put in here. And if I run out of room here, I will just use another bed. I'm not entirely sure on the spacing for cabbage. I think it's actually quite a bit. So I'm going to try and space them out as much as I can while still utilizing the space that I have to work with. And I used some of these little like cardboard seed holder things, and I am not a fan of them. Have you guys tried them and do you like them? Because I think you can plant this entire thing in the ground, which is nice, but they dry out so fast. Okay, so I got this one in, and like I said, if I remember right, I think you can plant the entire holder in the ground with it, so that is what I did. So that one is all ready to go, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill up the rest of the space with the remaining varieties that I have. Next, I'm going to move on to some of this Calabrese broccoli, and I did go ahead and rake the row and get all of these big chunks on the side, and then I wetted it down in the hopes that it kind of breaks up the soil a little bit. I feel like my soil is a little bit compact, even though I have went through like all the measures to try and fluff it up as best I can. I did try growing broccoli in containers and had no luck at it whatsoever, so I'm hoping that in the rows it will be better. I grew two varieties this year. So there's Calabrese broccoli, which is like the big heads of broccoli. And then there is also Desico broccoli, I believe is how you pronounce it. And that's kind of like a shooting broccoli that they serve at like restaurants and things like that. And you can harvest from it multiple times. So I thought that both of the varieties would be fun to try because like I said, I've never been able to get it to grow. So fingers crossed. And I'm not for sure on the spacing specifically, but I think I can do 3 in a 3x16 row. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do 3 in each row and work my way down. And then that leftover cabbage that I had, we will just set on the end. The starts actually look really pretty. I'm actually really proud of myself. So hopefully they maintain their health while being out here. One thing I'm already noticing in a difference compared to in-ground and container gardening is the watering. With container gardening, I kind of had to be careful about overwatering, and with the in-ground, I can already see that even though I think I've watered this really good, if I dig down, it's still super dry. So I'm going to have to go back and water everything like really, really heavy so that the roots of all of the things that I have planted can get the water as well. And I want to get all of this garden work and prep done so that we can go look at the chicken coop. And then I also saw online that people were finding morel mushrooms already. So I just want to take a moment and walk the perimeter of the property line with you guys and see if we can't find any. I would love to know when you guys typically plant out your cold weather crops if you are in zone 5. If you have any input on when you regularly do this, please let me know down below, because like I said, I am just winging it this year, and hopefully by doing so, it will give me a better understanding for next year. But I'm curious as to when everybody actually does it. I know what it says online, but sometimes that's not always accurate, and it's kind of best to just ask people in your area that have had really good success with it. So if you have any tips or tricks, definitely let me know. Okay, so I got all of the broccoli in and put some extra cabbage down there, and then I watered everything in really, really good. I'm gonna let the water sit here and just soak into the ground, and then I'm gonna give everything a really, really good water again, and then we wait. Friends, my video took a bit of an interesting turn yesterday because as I was working at the garden, my friend showed up. And so I went and walked around the property with her looking for mushrooms. I hadn't seen her in a couple weeks, so I wanted to just spend some time with her. We did not find any mushrooms, but I did find something really cool down below the hill of my house. So we are going to go over there and do a little bit of harvesting. And then I want to show you guys the new chicken coop. But I also thought this worked out good because now we can see everything that I planted yesterday and see how it's doing in the ground. So let me get you flipped around and we'll do a little walkthrough really quick. Okay, so here is the row of broccoli that I planted, and this all looks really good. Some of these are kind of flopping over because it's pretty windy outside today, but the leaves feel really thick and nice, and they are doing really, really well. Just the first day of having them in the ground, but nothing has been like uprooted or been pulled out by anything, so that's fantastic. And then here is all the cabbage that I got planted in the ground, and cabbage is one of my husband and I's favorite things. My daughter is not a super big fan of it, but I'm hoping we get a really good cabbage harvest because I want to do a lot of canned sauerkraut. And then I also want to go ahead and make a lot of kimchi, like I said, with all of this Napa cabbage and stuff. But so far so good. Everything looks really nice, and I got it all watered in really, really well. And then look at all these lettuces that are popping up. Just in one day, that's how much of a difference it makes. Lettuce is very, very fast growing, and it usually sprouts up very, very quickly. So that is really, really cool. Still looking for the peas along the backside to pop up, so hopefully we get a bunch of those as well. So really quickly before we go harvest down below the hill, I want to show you guys the new chicken coop. It is absolutely amazing, and it got dropped off probably like 4 to 5-ish days ago, and we figured out where we wanted it. So just to give you a reference, my garden is right here. Try not to make you too dizzy, but if you turn and go directly across from the garden, here is the new chicken coop. And I did that intentionally so that the girls would be super close to my garden, because oftentimes I have, you know, just scraps or extra veggies. And instead of composting it all, I want to be able to share it with them. My father-in-law and I got all of this gravel laid down and leveled out really well. And then, like I said, they did bring this on a trailer and they unloaded it with the machine. So let me just give you guys a run through on the outside. So on these doors on the outside, if we open the first one, there is 6 nesting boxes on this side. And then on this side, there is just open space. I think they said that this is supposed to be for feed, but I will probably convert that back into nesting boxes. And then there are windows on the outside that are able to open and shut, which is really nice. And then these are flippable so that whenever you open the doors, it holds them in place for you. So that is super nice. So then coming around to this side is the door, and it does have a place where you can lock it with a key, which is super nice. So this opens like so, and then here is the inside. So on this side, again, is the nesting boxes and the open space right there that we will put nesting boxes in. Here is the door from the inside, and then we also have these little roosting bars, which I will probably flip and put the flat side on the top. Sometimes whenever these bars are like super thin like this, it's really hard for chickens to sit on them. And that was something that one of my followers on TikTok actually mentioned, was flipping the bars. So definitely going to do that. So my first question for you guys is, would you do sand in this or would you do bedding? I'm torn on it. I see so many people doing sand now instead of the bedding, but I wonder about like the mites and pests and things in the sand. However, I do think sand would be a lot easier to clean than the bedding would be, just because you can buy like the Coop scoops, you know, and kind of sift through the sand, and I'll just put like a little trash can on the outside or something. So I'm torn and would love your guys' input on what you would do for the bottom of this. And then also I had somebody recommend doing a poop shelf underneath the perches. Now, I don't know if I'm just like not knowledgeable enough on this or what, but my thought was just cleaning the entire thing and not worrying about a shelf. But somebody said that that is necessary or would be really good. So if you think that I should put some sort of shelving underneath the perches, definitely let me know on that as well. So if we go from the door to this side over here, there is their little door that they can come out of, and it does have steps on the inside, which is really cool, so everybody can just step down in the mornings. I will probably get an automatic chicken door put on this, just so I don't have to come out every single day and let them out, and it'll just do it automatically. And then here will be the entire run. So it is important to say that the girls will have access to all of the property as long as I am home, but my husband and I do plan to build something coming from out this side all the way over here. So they will have a massive run and tons of room to run around over on this side. But I'm thinking about buying one of like the runs off of Amazon. I just need to double check the material and the quality. I have seen so many people go back and forth. Some people really love them. Other people are like, the material and quality is not that good. And the girls will be moving down here probably a month before we get here. So whatever we decide to use for their run, I just want to make sure that the quality is good enough that no predators are going to be able to get in there, because I won't be here to supervise every single day. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys the new coop. It is absolutely amazing. It's everything I ever wanted. My husband originally was going to build me one, but we just do not have time. And I found a company locally that made them. And so far, so good. Quality is fantastic. So this is going to be awesome. The girls are going to love it. I already know. They're going to have so much extra room in comparison to the coop that we have at the house now. So that is going to be really nice. Friends, it is so windy outside and I forgot my microphone. So if the quality is not the best, I really do apologize. But we are walking down this, oh my God, about fell. We are walking down this massive hill that is on the backside of my house. And we are going to go do some harvesting for the things that me and my friend found the other day. Now, I already did pick some while I was down here, but there's tons of them and I really want to get more. So we are going to go do that together. So let me give you a backstory. The farm has tons of wild onions and garlic. And for the longest time, I didn't think you could eat wild onions. I don't know why I thought that, but everybody always said that they were really like, not bland, but I guess like really like hard. Like they didn't really have a good texture or flavor. Well, me and my friend were down here the other day and we started picking them and snacking on them. And my friend said that she makes homemade garlic onion butters and things with them all the time and eats them. And I was like, really? So I took a bunch of them home and prepped them up. Sorry, I'm out of breath, friends. That hill is absolutely massive. That is a workout in and of itself. But My friend was saying how she eats them all the time and preserves them, and I was like, no way. So I took them home and did the same thing, and oh my gosh, you guys, they're so good. They are like the perfect blend of like garlic, onion. I don't know how to explain it, but so we were walking down here and this entire field is full of wild onions. So I'm like, I'm gonna come down here and pick a whole bunch more. And at first I thought they were garlic because the flavor is so garlicky, but these are wild onions. And like I said, they have a garlic flavor, but they're literally just wild green onions. We have an entire mess of them to pick through, and then I'm gonna take a bunch home and get them preserved up.
I wanted to come on here and take a moment to say that I am by no means a professional forager at all. And before you consume anything in the wild, please always make sure that you are doing additional research before you or your family go to consume it. I actually posted about harvesting these wild onions on my TikTok before I am editing this video for you all. And I had several people on there concerned that I might be ingesting something that is toxic. Now, just to preface, there is an onion lookalike called death camas that is incredibly toxic to people. However, it does not grow in the Midwest as far as I know, so that is not something that I would typically have to look out for. Both onions and garlic do grow in the wild, and 99.9% of them are perfectly safe for you and your family to consume. And like I said, I have known that the wild onions grow in my area, especially on my husband's family farm, which is where we built our house. His grandma and grandpa and his mom and dad talk about them all the time. They had just always said that they weren't good to eat. And I don't know if that's because they had never tried them or they had just heard that from somebody else. But when my friend said that she cooked with them and gave me an incentive to try them, I realized how absolutely delicious they are. So if you ever come across wild onions that you are familiar with and you have done additional research on to make sure that they are good for you and your family to consume, I definitely recommend. But I also want to make sure that I am putting out good information and always trying to do my best to tell people to do additional research on anything that I say, whether it is gardening, canning, picking wild onions, whatever the case may be. Please don't ever take my information at face value. Always do additional research, whether it's something I say or somebody else says. These just so happen to be one of nature's freebies, and on this particular day, I decided to take full advantage of God's country and what it has created for me.
My father-in-law is here doing some groundwork, and he had the side-by-side, and he gave me a ride back up here so that I didn't die walking back up the hill. But look at all these onions, guys. There's so many of them. So we are gonna go home and just wash them off and preserve them up together. I think I'm probably just gonna freeze all of these, but maybe we'll make something together and put them in there. If you ever see wild onions while you're out and about walking, feel free to pick them because they're absolutely free and they taste incredible. I am officially back home for the day, and I was working on prepping the wild onions that we harvested together. And somebody on my TikTok had said that they thought that they were actually garlic. I don't know. I looked up online and it said that the wild garlic has like really hollow stems on it. These were really dense. But either way, the wild garlic and the wild onions are both perfectly safe to consume. It could be something in the garlic family. We have a lot of different varieties of wild onions and wild garlic on the farm, so who knows? I have used the Picture This app a couple times, and it did indicate on one of the varieties that I had tried it on that it was an onion, but these could be a type of garlic as well. Don't really know, but I am excited to have all of these for my cooking. I did go ahead and save a bunch of the stems to show you guys how much you really can't utilize with it. The only difference between the wild ones and the ones that you might grow at home in your garden is the very, very bottoms of them are very tough. So I only utilize about half of the plant itself. I don't know what else you could really do with it in terms of cooking and stuff, but there might be some sort of medicinal thing you could do with it, or you can always compost this and stuff as well. I already know this video is probably getting super long, so maybe we will make a recipe together next week utilizing these. I know we have the chicken coop run to put up at the new house, so we will all be spending the weekend together doing that. I also want to give you guys some house updates, and we'll just see what we have to do throughout the weekend for next week's video. I did not get a chance to go shopping like I wanted to, unfortunately.
So we will have a bunch of home decor shopping trips to take in the future as well. But I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this weekend. I wholeheartedly appreciate it. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. As always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, friends.